Hey guys, weekend energy update. And of course, we are moving through an eclipse window right now. We've been talking about it all week. Coming up next week, we have our new moon in the sign of Libra, which is going to be a solar eclipse. We had a lunar eclipse in Pisces that happened last week. Eclipse season is largely about karma and destiny, fated change. This eclipse season is really bringing up themes of endings and beginnings. And this weekend, the ending dynamic of that polarity that's being expressed right now is likely to be coming through really strong. There could definitely be a big emphasis or focus on things, people, situations from the past that are coming back up somehow this weekend. Perhaps even as far back as 2006 coming up to be resolved, closure, tying up loose ends, people needing to speak their mind or clear their conscience somehow. So, don't be surprised if there are just things from the past that are very prominent in our experience as we move through the weekend, especially in the energy on Sunday. We have a Sun Mercury South Node conjunction happening in the sign of Libra. So this is, especially things to do with other people, connections, investments, even the ways that we have identified ourselves in the past, who we've been and how we've connected and related to ourselves and others. This is the type of stuff that's likely to be coming back up for some, change somehow. And we also have a trine playing out in water signs between Mars and Saturn. This actually, lends itself to a very productive energy for getting hard work done. If you have any, it's really good for chores, housework. If you've got any unfinished projects or, things that you've sort of been putting off having to do with your home or just what's going on in your house or something like that, this will be a really good weekend to put some time and energy into getting those things done. You'll probably get a more successful and productive result or outcome than you might in other energy. And we've got a lot to talk about as we continue, of course, to head towards this new moon that's coming up. Lots of emphasis on the past, lots of emphasis on overcoming fears, releasing things that have, actually held us back from going through perhaps a necessary phase of growth that we know we need to move towards right now. Lots to talk about. Let's get into our report of the day, you guys. The weekend. Let's put it all together and see, what we may be facing as we head through our weekend and prepare to enter next week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, September 27th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the weekend, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. In this video, we are going to consider the energy that we have playing out this weekend, talk about what it might be bringing into our experience as we head towards our new moon in Libra. Libra season is coming at us next week, and that new moon in Libra is also going to be a solar eclipse. So we are headed in that direction. Eclipse seasons, of course, have to do with the nodes of the moon. The nodes of the moon have to do with destiny and karma. These are generally quite fated times of year where there are just big changes happening. They are related to 6-month increments of time and also greater 18-year increments of time, because that's how long it takes the nodes to transit the entire zodiac. The nodes are in each sign for approximately 18 months, so a year and a half in each sign. And right now we are in the middle of a North Node Aries transit, which puts the South Node in the sign of Libra, which is the focal point of our report today and of all the energy right now and of what we're probably going to be dealing with, especially as we move through the weekend, especially Sunday, but also just in a generalized fashion as a result of our eclipse season right now that is featuring North Node Aries, South Node Libra energy. Just sort of a brief recap. I don't want to go too in-depth into this right now, but I've been talking about this since not this most recent summer, but the summer before, when the nodes entered Aries and Libra. This is with the North Node in Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, the sign of the self, the sign ruled by Mars. This is a necessary sort of personal leadership era, I've been calling it, that we all have been being kind of pushed towards throughout this period of time, which on the flip side of that, you know, the nodes and the signs are they function very largely in polarities a lot of times. Aries is the sign of the self. Libra, the oppositional sign to Aries, is the sign of others and of relationships. So if the North Node is transiting the sign of the self, the North Node is the destiny point representing sort of like our collective next phase of growth and evolution, the lessons that need to be learned. The South Node, this is the, you know, karmic point. This is the past. This is what we must release and let go of in order to go through that next phase of growth. So if the North Node in Aries is really at this point in time, especially about redefining the self in the context of the authentic self and like a higher purpose and a higher destiny and like a personal journey and a hero's journey as well, with Chiron also having been transiting the sign of Aries and having come into conjunction with the North Node in the sign of Aries. It's like a fated hero's journey that we've all been being called towards to sort of step into, honestly, like a new era kind of self-mastery in our own lives and experiences and become more accountable and responsible, but also in charge of what it is that we're experiencing in our lives. The flip side of that, the South Node in Libra, the South Node, what we're releasing, what's coming to an end, the cycles that we are breaking and graduating from in the sign of others is of course going to have to do with relationship dynamics. Who and what we have defined ourselves by in the past that no longer fits who we are being called to become right now. Okay, so in order for us to go through this like personal recreation, honestly, that we're kind of being cosmically mandated to move through right now, as we are also in a larger transition of ages, and we as individuals essentially have no choice but to be energetically recalibrated as a reflection of what's happening on these greater, you know, energetic levels, as above so below, microcosm, macrocosm. Like, we are going to individually reflect in our energy bodies the changes that are happening in terms of the greater energy body of, you know, the planet, resulting from where we're at and are unfolding a cosmic blueprint right now in these various activation and energetic light codes and all of that, the greater, grander scheme of cycles and everything that is unfolding right now. All right. And so with the South Node in the sign of Libra, then, you know, we've got to essentially go through a fated detachment from the, you know, what we've liked, what we've found to be comfortable, even like material possessions and stuff, everything essentially related to the Libran end of the feminine energy. And it's interesting, and this is another thing that, you know, I've been talking about a lot. The South Node in the sign of Libra indicates the, you know, the release and the graduation from the lessons associated with the Venus feminine energy that were represented through this past cycle of time since 2006, which is when this cycle that we are closing out right now actually began, the last time that the eclipses were happening with the nodes in this same signal position. So we're talking about things that could be going back, you know, almost like 2 decades now, coming back around, or things from the past generally just coming back around, but it's likely to relate to things happening to do with the Libra type themes, past relationships, investments, connections, friends, things that we've loved, like pieces of our heart, you know what I mean? Associations, possessions, also like deals and agreements and stuff like that, valuables, art, music, fashion, images, even like eras of our lives generally that have defined us in the past. Like, this is when people are going to be really like shedding some old skin, letting some things go, and, you know, deciding to like really start to embody the changes that have been going on a more internalized level within them. Again, a lot of people are also going to be like instinctively or impulsively reaching out to people from the past because they are needing to like resolve these unresolved issues, on the whole unfinished business thing that I've been talking about this week, seeking closure, things from a long time ago coming back up, needing to like say something again, like speak the peace or clear the conscience somehow. This is just, and I mean, Libra is an air sign too. It's about communication. It's about relating with others. So, or just like you could just find yourself in like a conversation with an old friend about something from the past that is coming back up. But there's another like element of this, like there's likely to be something exposed. Like it's not just that we are at a point where we, you know, are needing to like let go of like old friends and associations and like values and preferences and stuff, and we're going through like this like identity shift. It's not just that. It's like another like fundamental reason for why this is happening is it's because like anything that was like not right about things, that was out of alignment, that was in any way like toxic or out of balance or like unfair or not reciprocal or just like abusive or anything like that in any type of a way, like these are the things that are likely to be more prominent in this energy, or things that we've been afraid of also. These are the things that are actually likely to be more prominent in association with how the past stuff is coming up, because there is, I'm telling you guys, like there is a level of like darkness or like things that have been hidden, secrets, like, or just again that have been inverted or out of integrity or like not right or like toxic in any type of way. Like there's something about that type of stuff being exposed in a way that we're seeing things for what they really are, and that exposure also is like facilitating this process of release or endings or shifts or changes, or how we're redefining ourselves, or what we do and do not want to be attached to anymore, and what really is and isn't worth it to us. Also, that's another thing that is like wrapped up in this that I feel like is going on. A lot of people that may have been able to like turn a blind eye to things before because of like what they were getting out of it, or like that may have been willing to like sacrifice elements of their like inner peace or of their conscience in some type of a way because of what they were getting out of it. Like what they were getting out of it, for some reason the value of that is likely to shift in this process as well. Like it won't be worth it anymore to continue to maintain like the false image or the facade or the secrecy, because like it like literally with the way that this is, it's like the weight that, or the what it's taking on like a soul level will be much more significant than, you know, what the value is that we were gaining from whatever it is that we were, you know, participating in or dealing with or attached with, or, you know, the secrets that people were keeping and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of things that are coming out. And like I was saying before, people needing to speak their piece, like people needing to clear their conscience, like people needing to like set things straight, people needing to come clean about things. That type of stuff is going to be happening because for some reason, like it won't be worth it anymore to like maintain whatever that was. So we're likely to see like a lot of people's dark sides, I think, being exposed in a way that actually brings some type of clarity, some type of, you know, justice, and ultimately like ends cycles or connections that were based in or feeding somehow like that I don't know, you know, whatever you want to call it, that negative energy or that toxicity or that like just lack of transparency and authenticity and accountability. Because remember, everything right now is pushing for authenticity at the end of the day when we're dealing with this Uranian Aquarian energy that we're transitioning into and that's coming in. It's all about removing blockages to growth that have been preventing us from aligning with like a higher version of ourselves or a higher destiny, in order to again like go through this collective evolution into the age of Aquarius, which really is bridging us back into like a more golden age era that is incoming over the next 10,000 years, when we pull out and look at these grander cycles of time that play out and that have been spoken of in ancient, you know, cultures and traditions and spiritual faiths all over the world for thousands of years. We're at a point in time right now where we're essentially like coming out of the darkness, coming back into the light, and as a result of that, things that have been operating in the darkness and holding power as a result are going to begin to be exposed more and more and more over the course of this next 18 to 20 years. If we're ending, okay, an 18-year-ish, you know, there's variability here. It's not like exact, it's you know, there's a little bit of a buffer. But anyways, if we're ending, you know, a cycle, a relative cycle of that period of time, then we're also beginning a new relative cycle of that period of time. And these cycles right now, the nodal cycles, are correlating with the Pluto cycle. The Pluto, we had this cycle began in I've been talking about this. This cycle began in 2006. Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008. This cycle right now of the nodes and this eclipse, these eclipse axes are ending now and beginning again. And we are also just this very next month ending Pluto's transit that was going on since 2008. So we've got a cycle from 2006 and a cycle from 2008 that are both simultaneously closing out like this fall. And therefore they're both also beginning this fall, and they both also are like 18 to 20 year cycles. So over the next 18 to 20 years, we are going to see the things that I'm talking about now in these videos gradually come to pass, grow, and come to kind of like dominate the collective way that the energy is functioning. Okay, so I'm talking about endings and beginnings. I'm talking about periods of time that are going to, you know, be, you know, rather lengthy and very much redefine like the generations that we're moving into an Aquarius generation. We're moving out of the Capricorn generation, the transit of Pluto and Capricorn. We're moving into the Aquarian generation, Pluto and Aquarius, that in my perception is going to, you know, really kind of like fundamentally begin to root the age of Aquarius into our paradigm in a much more tangible and powerful way. Okay. So anyways, where we're at now, the South Node in the sign of Libra, we've got Uranus transiting also the sign of Taurus. This is removing blockages to growth that have been existing within the feminine energy field, from my perception, that have been essentially preventing this cosmic expansion evolution that is being activated now from happening until this point in time. For various reasons. We talk about it all the time. But the black moon involvement here and the Pluto energy that is involved in this right now as well really can't be understated. And I really do think it's talking about this purge point. And I mean, Uranus in the sign of Taurus also. And we've got this trine going on, you guys, between Uranus and Taurus and Pluto and Capricorn. That is also awakening us to where there have been distortions in the Taurian energy, our ability to create and build in a way that is upright and like organic and comes into something that is like thriving and in alignment with like a higher potential. And Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, the structures and the forms and the governments and the control systems of our 3D physical world. Like there is an awakening to something that has been going on within the control structure of the dynamic of the planet, essentially, that has been blocking authentic growth from taking place. This is demonstrated, as I continue to say, through Uranus's transit through the sign of Taurus ruled by Venus, while we also have this South Node Libra activation, Libra being Venus's other sign. Both the Taurus energy and the Libra energy, both energies represented by the Venus archetype and the Venus energy, are both being indicated for awakening and release. And with the trine to Pluto right now from Capricorn, profound, deep purge, transformation, regeneration in association with that awakening and with that release, you guys. So, I mean, you can take that and boil it down, you know, into a more personalized experience wherever things have gotten out of alignment, personally, even for us in our own individual lives, out of balance in the context of essentially like the way the dark and light feminine energy are operating within us. There is likely to be a cleansing taking place where that imbalance is sort of cut off somehow, or where the things that are creating or perpetuating that imbalance are just removed from our lives in order to actually put us on a path to restore and reintegrate that energy within us, so that we actually can come into greater alignment with our own personal potential, with our own higher selves, with our own like I started out talking about, our own sense of like personal leadership in our lives and our ability to, you know, be like the creator of our own experiences as a result of the lessons and the wisdom that we've gained through what we've been through, and you know who those experiences have made us into as a person. Like, it's really time to redefine ourselves along those lines and let go of anything that has either been keeping us attached to who we used to be but are truly not, or any also like idea or perception or relationship that we have had or held in and of and with ourselves that has actually been a distorted version of who we truly are and what we're truly capable of and what we're truly meant to be doing, you know, what our purpose really is in this experience. So anywhere that things have gotten too out of balance within us or in our own lives in terms of our ability to have an integrated feminine energy that is functioning within us, which, you know, humanity honestly collectively is a pretty traumatized species, and so it's very, very rare that honestly at this point, you know, really any of us would be like spared from this distorted feminine energy experience up until this point in time. However, you know, and that's also why, you know, so many people, a lot of people have been going through it so much right now, because we actually, like, a part of our process of like recalibrating and rectifying on these levels is having to go, you know, through some true trials and tribulations that like break us down to our core so that we can actually be like reformed in alignment with that more authentic view of ourselves, because of what we realize we were capable of overcoming and what we, you know, really can do, and how powerful and creative, you know, we actually are when we get put in a position to have no other choice or need to be, you know what I mean? And that changes our relationship to ourselves. That changes the way that our energy is operating. That changes what we gravitate to and what we magnetize to ourselves. So, you know, on a personal level, that's what a lot of this is about as well. And also, a part of this process is also going to be a restoration for the value and the purity and the sanctity of that divine feminine energy, which has been so skewed or has been so out of balance for so long. It's going to be reflected back, like this this new like attitude towards the feminine energy is going to be reflected back to us in terms of, you know, culture and art and beauty and music over this next 18 to 20 years as well. We are going to see a major change in the way that just feminine energy is like utilized and viewed and valued and portrayed as well, and also like what is given attention to, like what is perceived to be, you know, like attractive and stuff, like shifting beauty standards very, very radically. I think we're going to see over this next 18 to 20 years, things to do with, you know, the hypersexualized feminine energy or the dark feminine energy as a means also of like making money and stuff like that. I'm telling you, like, these things are going to begin to lose power and appeal in a way that we haven't experienced literally in like, you know, going back probably to like biblical times. Okay. And I think a lot of it's interesting because like as I was preparing this report today and as we've been moving into this energy, there's also been like a lot breaking in regards to the music industry. And I don't know if any of you guys have heard about like the whole thing going on with Puff Daddy, P. Diddy out there and like all the issues that are coming up right now. I think that it's, you know, not a coincidence that these things are being exposed and there's sort of like a focal point being put on them while we're going through this black moon, south node, Libra, you know, all these planets hitting that south node and black moon conjunction right now in the sign of Libra transit. I think that this energy, this conjunction, this period of time generally, this like particular eclipse season is going to have a lot to do with flushing out and clearing out and cleaning up industries having to do with music, art, fashion, beauty, the Libra themes. There are probably going to be more people exposed and more scandals in terms of abuse and toxicity and perversity as sort of like base operating modes in these industries that is being uncovered, that is being unearthed and aired out and purged, and like a generalized awakening as to how these things have been operating. And again, like for long periods of time. I also think the porn industry is probably going to collapse as well between now and over the next 18 to 20 years. As we go through this period of time, people are going to be, I think, collectively, and again, this is not, gonna happen like overnight instantly, but this will be the growing trend. People are going to be less easily controlled and less susceptible to like lust and to vanity and vices and addictions, and going forward, they're just not going to be as susceptible to being enslaved or controlled by the darker aspects and tendencies of these energies. And it's going to again be because of and come back to these imbalances within the feminine energy within us actually being removed and released and like reintegrated over this period of time as a result of what we're going through. So the imbalances that actually these, the addictions and the vices and the lusts and stuff like that, like ultimately stems from is what on like a root core level is going to be resolved because of, however things play out, whatever goes on right now. And it's going to create this greater sense of inner wholeness, which therefore is going to have the side effect of like people aren't going to need that type of stuff to the same extent that perhaps they have or they do in the past and up until now, because there's going to be like just a greater harmonization of energy within them. There won't be the empty holes that they're like looking to fill that are responsible for, addictions and all that type of stuff. Also, as a byproduct of that, blackmail, which is a control system that really I feel like pulls all the strings and it has a very dominating role in what happens and what we see play out in our world at large. This is going to tie into this as well, and I don't think that it will be the same caliber of weapon or like powerful controlling mechanism that it has been for a long time up until now. Hush money, also like bribes and contracts, as I was mentioning earlier, they're not going to be worth it anymore. It's not going to be worth the price to stay silent, like the guilt or the weight on the conscience or like the awareness of like the greater consequence or something like that. Like people are going to not be able to sacrifice their conscience anymore in the same way, and as a result they're going to start talking, more things are going to be exposed, like people are going to choose to like bring things to light at their own personal expense in this energy, because again, like the North Node in Aries, right? This is also Mars. Mars is the hero, okay? So it's also we're going to see a lot of people stepping into like a very heroic role and like maybe even perhaps like being willing to sacrifice themselves for like doing the right thing and the weight that it lifts off their consciousness, this need to release and to let go of some karmic burden that we've been carrying or enmeshed with in the context of other people and the Venus energy, and especially with the black moon there, the secrets and the dark side and the toxic end of the Venus energy and what we have been sacrificing in and of ourselves out of fear, okay, of losing love at its core, all right? Or like value or like our material possessions and world and something like that. So a lot of people are going to be airing things out. A lot of people are going to be exposing dark secrets that they literally have not been able to talk about or bring themselves to talk about up till now, but at this point in time just like cannot go on without, like they need closure, right? And that's exactly what I was saying at the beginning. And this isn't all going to be like that. This could also just be like really like having not heard from someone in a long time and always having wanted to say something to them and just deciding that you're just going to reach out and tell them, or like you had a dream about somebody that you haven't seen or talked to in a long time, you know what I mean? And you just reach out. Like a lot of people are just going to be reconnecting, in a lot of these cases it will be for the last time somehow for some reason, but the past, okay, I don't know. So things coming to light though, with whatever information is being released or uncovered or whatever messages are being delivered, there's likely to be something that comes to light or something of significance here that somehow drastically alters our desires or our values or our preferences, or like who and what we want to be and become and associate and attach ourselves to moving forward. Lots of people are going to be finding out the dark truths about lots of things that are just going to be like game changers, okay? Change their entire perspective, their whole view on reality, more of this paradigm shifting stuff, which is what would be indicated and which is what we would and should expect as we are going through a literal paradigm shift, transitioning ages right now. So don't be surprised, guys, if somebody just pops up out of nowhere this weekend from the past with something that they like need to say to you, or if you find out something about someone or something from the past that like just drastically or radically alters things somehow. And this another dimension of this, it's also this personal release of our old outdated image and view of and relationship to our own selves as well. Like I was saying, we're being called to step into this leadership era or this hero's journey in our own lives, and like whatever we go through during this period of time is likely to make it clear to us that we are now more of who we're becoming than who we've been. And so it's gonna be like this energetic shift, okay, that like where who we felt ourselves becoming and transitioning into perhaps over the past couple of years, it's like we feel ourselves materializing more into that reality than the reality we have lived or the person that we've been up until this period of time. So that being said, if you've been wanting a makeover, or if you've been wanting to reinvent yourself or rebrand yourself or recreate yourself in any type of way, like this is a very fantastic weekend to do it. It'll go, it'll be right in alignment with things if you use this energy to do something like that. If you guys remember, watch my video on Monday. Also, I was talking about this very ancient myth about these two goddesses, Inanna, the goddess of heaven and earth, and her sister Ereshkigal, who is the goddess of the underworld, and how she feels this calling to go through essentially a new experience to learn things she's never known and see things she's never seen and experience things she's never experienced by going through the underworld. And as she goes through that process, it strips her of all of her like material possessions that she associated with her power and her life as queen of heaven and earth. But as she makes it down to the underworld, she essentially, like, that version of her just perishes because she realizes there's so much more than, like, there's things that are so much more valuable than what she had perceived in her existence as, solely having experienced the upper world of things. And when she goes on this journey through the underworld, it totally redefines her and her perception of what is of true value and what is of true power. And she is, of course, resuscitated and revived by the gods, and she is allowed to leave and to go back to reign in her position as the goddess and queen of heaven and earth. But she is forever changed. She decides not to take the possessions with her that she came down with because they were associated with the old version of herself, which she no longer is. And in order for her to leave the underworld, she had to make a sacrifice and essentially put someone in her place that she loved and valued and cared for. And she actually chose her husband to do it. And in my perception, it's because she also realized as she went through this death and rebirth process that even the relationships and even her husband, the person that she loved the most, like, that was a defining feature of the person that she used to be before she went through that process, and not the person that she became after she saw what she had not seen and learned what she had not known and experienced what she had never experienced. And so she couldn't even she had to sacrifice that as well, because even her relationship was no longer a reflection of the new version of herself that had been birthed through that painful process that she had experienced. And it's really very on par archetypally to what we are going through now and what is being represented energetically through these Libra South Node transits happening right now, and also the Uranus Taurus transits and the trine to Pluto going on right now. A lot of us are really being, you know, tested and pushed through a personal journey, like through the underworld, where we're being forced to essentially strip ourselves of everything that we felt gave us power or status or defined who we were up until this point in time. But we're also going to realize through that process that there is so much we didn't understand, and there's actually so much more, and actually like our true power and our true value comes from such a deeper place than maybe we had experienced in the past. And as a result of that, we're going to be leaving a lot of things behind that are just no longer a reflection of this authentic version of personal power that is, you know, arising and being birthed within us now, that is guiding us towards our true purpose, you know, our high potential, and the destiny activating energy that is happening as a byproduct of our transition into the age of Aquarius, as above, so below. Like, we don't get there without becoming, like, we're becoming the shift, okay? Like, that's how this happens, like on a 3D level. Like, we are the vessels of the energy that is, you know, being anchored to the planet. So when the, you know, as above so below, as the energy fields themselves begin to recalibrate and change, our personal energy fields therefore will do the same thing. And that is why, you know, we're all going through these processes right now, some of us in very conscious ways, some of us in totally unconscious ways. And again, you know, it's not something that happens to all of us at the exact same time, but I do think that over this next 20 years, we are going to really have transitioned in terms of the way that we are like dealing with and interacting with our own realities, and who we are, what we're associated with, who we're associated with, what we value, what we love generally, I think will have changed quite significantly. So, you know, we're being supported right now to leave our old selves behind, just like in that myth, and to recreate ourselves as a, like, it's an upgrade, okay? We are being personally upgraded to reflect what we have learned through, and the wisdom that we've gained through the experiences that this past 20 years, 18 years, you know, the Pluto, whether you want to look at it as the Pluto Capricorn transit, whether you want to look at it as this most recent cycle of the nodes transiting through Aries and Libra, moving back to Pisces and Virgo, you know, any way you want to slice it, they're both correlating, they're both supporting each other, and they're both kind of like playing out this way. So, you know, going forward, we do need to see ourselves differently. We do need to like ingrain ourselves with, or integrate mentally ourselves with the who we're becoming now, as opposed to who we've been. And we're not going to be the same moving forward. We're not going to want the same things. We're not going to value the same things. We're not going to be attracted to the same things or the same people. We're not going to need the same things to feel a sense of like inner peace and comfort and stuff like that. But we are going to have this much greater sense of internalized balance, internalized harmony, like feeling like things are fair and even in terms of the energetic reciprocity, like the give and take in our lives, okay? This inner integration, this greater sense of internal wholeness, and ultimately inner peace that is going to have all of these positive beneficial impacts in our lives that, you know, ripples out collectively again, which is going to contribute to people being less susceptible to being controlled by like external things, okay, the way that we have been as we've been closing out this age of Pisces, and even largely throughout the age of Pisces in the last 2,000 years as well. You know, not an instantaneous process, you guys, but it is going to emerge, I think, in some pretty tangible ways over this next 18 to 20 years. Beauty standards, like I said, and just like how we relate to and perceive feminine energy is definitely going to change. Restoration of a reverence for the true feminine energy, power, and creative force. That's what is going to come back online. No more of this like dark feminine, inverted feminine energy that's being like glamorized and used to perpetuate sort of like an inverted and corrupted creation process. And because of this, because we are clearing up like a core root issue here, therefore a lot of other things are going to begin to right themselves, get back on track, and grow properly, Uranus transiting through the sign of Taurus, a restoration of authentic potential, cosmic evolution, and the degree, the Sabian symbol degree, actually, where this alignment is taking place, the south node right now is at 7 degrees of the sign of Libra. That Sabian symbol is a woman feeding chickens and protecting them from hawks, which to me, like, that symbol is describing the proper integration of both, you know, dark and light feminine energy. A woman feeding the chicken, she's nurturing and nourishing them, but she's also, you know, the fierce protector and defender. She's willing to go to battle for those chickens to protect them from those hawks, but she's also exerting like the nurturing, you know, more gentle feminine energy as well, in one situation having to do with what she cares for. So, and it's also, you know, we also got, again, Mars in the sign of Cancer right now, in a trine to Saturn in the sign of Pisces. This is also giving us the strength to let things go, and like the willpower to release things and let things go. Like, we're allowing things on one hand to break down in this energy, and on the other hand, we have the energy and the resilience and the fortitude to like begin to build again. If you guys watched my last video, I was talking about how actually, like, as we move through the energy of next week, Venus is going to join this trine that we've had going on between Mars and Saturn as well, and that does represent some very fertile, like, seed planting energy, especially in terms of like an emotional renewal, okay, that is coming up here. And we are going to be seeding some very, like, perhaps fulfilling dimensions of our new world that will begin to grow, but we've got to get through this south node energy and this release point first. So, blast from the past, resolutions, flashbacks, closure, also dark secrets revealed that cause or lead to necessary endings somehow. Things are being cleared up though, they're being cleaned out, blockages are being removed. On that note, great weekend to do chores, to do like actual cleanup somehow, housework, doing things that you've been procrastinating, as I mentioned in the beginning, finishing some things up once and for all, anything that has been sort of lingering out there that you've been needing to get done that you really haven't wanted to do. This is a good weekend to put some energy or effort into it. It's going to go easier. With Mars and Saturn, we have a really good ability to like get some hard work done, and it's generally like easier and just like less cumbersome than it would be perhaps in other energies. So use this if you have some, you know, just some stuff that you need to get done that you've been putting off. Really good for repairs and stuff like that as well, especially things again that have been lingering or that have been unfinished, or also for like fortifying things somehow, like making things stronger, making things better, especially in regard to the home or the family. Old disputes and arguments can be mediated or handled very like productively in this energy as well. Wisdom and fair judgment with Mars trine Saturn are like they're available in this energy in the context of any type of like mediation or resolution that needs to go on. So that's productive and beneficial and helpful in the context of things right now as well. I will say, like, another aspect of this south node that I haven't talked about yet is the more financial element of it. The south node can represent loss, okay, loss and endings. This could also translate into like big financial sell-offs happening. People are going to be on just like this more collectivized level, letting go of material possessions, like letting go of valuables, getting rid of things, like getting out of investments, like material possessions, things that they've had for a long time or been carrying with them for a long time that for, you know, whatever reason, because of whatever's gone on, they just no longer see the value in, or no longer, or again, like they've become more of a hindrance to, you know, where they're going or what they're growing into than their value is worth to them anymore. So a lot of people are going to be getting rid of a lot of things, just feeling a need to do like a clean sweep, okay, or to just like divest from things as well. This could definitely, of course, also impact financial markets, monetary systems, and also things to do with value and money. may be coming up. Anything that is out of alignment with authentic value, anything that is fake, anything that is deceptive, anything that is just like surface level or just an image or a facade, and also anything that is abusive or toxic or corrupt or inverted that has to do with value, resources, worth, gonna be, again, like the very same themes, uncovered, discovered, and flushed out in this energy. So if, things are not worth what they've been said to be worth, they're going to be revalued to be worth what they're actually worth. You know what I mean? Like, and that type of thing is going to be happening across the board in millions of different ways and scenarios. Also, imbalances and perversions and all things related to the give and take dynamic and energy going back and forth between people. This is also going to be redefined in the context of the greater levels of awareness that are collectively like unfolding right now in the context of these things as well. So not much is going to continue to be able to operate in the shadows and still like have a productive financial benefit to it. Okay. I don't know why or how or just generally in what ways, but these are the themes that I feel like are coming through here. This black moon, south node, sun, first it was Venus and now it's the sun and Mercury together, and we've got the new moon's going to be lining up here in a couple days. Like, this is honestly like quite a profound activation in my perception, following the astrology and looking at it in the context of these greater unfolding cycles of time, and like how each and every little activation that goes on really plays its role in the overall unfolding of all of this right now, and how the cosmic blueprint operates and stuff like that. I do think that we are going to begin to see a restoration in terms of that reverence for the true balanced power of like integrated feminine energy moving forward. And as a result, again, like it's going to clear up a lot of things, and a lot of the issues that have really defined, we can take it real far back, but at least probably the past 100 years or so are going to not be as much of an issue moving forward. Of course, there will be other issues, I'm sure, that will come, over time, but we are moving into the more higher octave energy. Like, we are moving out of the heavier, more closed off energy that's detached from, cosmic wisdom, galactic center emanations and all of that. Because, we go through these like grand cycles of time where essentially we are in like a greater and a lesser proximity, and therefore ability to like receive these emanations from the galactic center, which alter our brain chemistries and the way that we're interacting with the reality, which is why humanity goes through these epics in dark and light ages, and the nature of the human experience that is defined by those ages. It has a lot to do with the energetic activation of actually the way that our brain is functioning as a result of our connectivity to essentially like the energy source of the universe. So, okay, I'm gonna get off that tangent now and get back to where we're at. But these are really times that are going to redefine, the way that our lives function going forward, who we're attracted to, what our preferences are, what we value, what we desire, what makes us comfortable, what gives us that sense of peace internally. And so, of course, we can expect that things may be, really reflecting the concept of endings and beginnings as we move through the weekend. And again, of course, like the past coming back around somehow. I'm going to get us a synchronicity card now, you guys, before I just like keep talking and talking and talking. Let's get a piece of guidance or advice. What will benefit us the most as we move through the weekend? What should we keep in mind? What do we need to know? What should we tell ourselves if things just start feeling a little sketchy out there? Okay, we've got a card that says persist. Okay, keep going. Don't give up. We are almost there. Well, we are almost to the gate of the new beginning. which is funny also because I told you guys the position of the South Node. That is the woman feeding chickens and defending them from hawks, but we also have the position of the North Node right now in the opposition to the South Node. So opposite the Sun and opposite Mercury on Sunday at 7 degrees of Aries. That Sabian symbol is a man successfully expressing himself in two realms at once. So again, like 1 foot in the old world, 1 foot in the new world. And this is the like faded bridge period where, you know, we're half in and half out. But after we move through this eclipse window, we're going to be more in than out in terms of the new world that we are moving into now. Anyways, persist, you guys. Because of his persistence, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. Luke 11:8. Nothing is too large or too small, and your persistence in believing in God's ability to provide whatever it is you seek will bring you to your goal. Persistence, waiting, patience, and never failing faith will lead you to your goal. And that is also like persistence, waiting, patience, and never failing faith will lead you to your goal. That is a line that is very, very in alignment with this Mars Saturn exact trine, Saturn retrograding in the sign of Pisces. This is that faith, adherence to the faith, persistence, working towards it, keeping the eye on the prize, not giving up, and that like emotional resistance and fortitude to move ourselves forward in this new direction despite the setbacks that could be or the release or whatever is coming up, the loss, what we're having to let go of and move on from associated with that South Node stuff. I've been saying I really do like and appreciate actually this Mars Saturn water sign trine energy because it's helping us to emotionally have the strength to get through things that might just have been much more difficult under other energetic circumstances. So even though we may have some difficult endings that we're coming up against, universe is providing and protecting in the form of support and security emotionally as we're moving through this process. That is honestly kind of like coming from within or coming through this adherence to our faith at this time. So that's what I have to say today, you guys, for our weekend. Hope you guys liked it. If you did like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate that, you guys. It helps me out a lot. Leave me comments if you liked this video and you are having experiences that reflect what I'm talking about here. I really value and appreciate what you guys have to say, your contributions to my channel. I'm so grateful for your presence here. I love you guys. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, of course, I post these boards in a Facebook group that I have that is linked in my description box below. And come back with me on Monday, you guys. We have a new week of energy to talk about. We are getting into another eclipse week. We have our new moon in Libra entering Libra season. This eclipse that I keep talking about. It's coming up on October 2nd. So I'll be here next week to talk about it, you guys. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you next time. Have a beautiful weekend, you guys. And until then, bye.